invited our team Elite 1, Mr. Henry Kong, to share with us the natural healing with electric potential therapy. Henry holds a degree in electrical engineering from the University of Singapore. He also holds a diploma in diet and nutrition and diploma in holistic massage. Henry has been in a preventive healthcare for many years, and he has also with more than 20 years of experience in the health and nutrition industry. So without further ado, let's put our hand together to welcome Mr. Henry Kong.
Let's give a round of applause to Daphne. Good afternoon to everyone here.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So, very happy to be able to explain to you a little bit more about the electric potential therapy. How many of you are already using our M-Life Sleep device? Yeah, so there are a few persons who haven't started. So this is usually not the first session for a new person, but it's okay because what we want to do is to really have a deeper understanding of what we are using when you invest in an M-Life Sleep device, which is you can see in front, especially for the new ones on my right hand side. That is a DZ latest model. So let's take a look at what is electric potential. Now, what you see here is the Earth. We are all staying on Earth, right? Yeah, planet Earth, our home, okay? And do you know that in the universe there are many planets?
Yes.
You all know? Yeah? And not all the planets can be inhabited by humans. Isn't that true? Not every planet can be inhabited. The fact that we can stay on planet Earth, we are very lucky. Why is it that we are very lucky? Because this is one of the few planets that have a negative electric field. Okay? We are surrounded by you think that is air, right? Actually it's the ionosphere. And in this ionosphere, as you can see, on planet Earth itself, there's this negative charge represented by the circle with a minus sign. And on the ionosphere, they have actually the positive charge represented by a circle with a plus sign. Okay? So the Earth's surface actually acts as a negative surface of a capacitor. Have you all heard about capacitor? Any one of you? Or you all have never heard about capacitor? Capacitor is actually one of the electronic devices that is very often used in all the devices that we have, practically all the electrical instruments, our TV, everywhere, we have capacitor. It's actually able to store charge. Okay? So in other words, our Earth are being charged, in a sense, negatively. Okay? So the ionosphere is a positive plate, and because of that, it created a negative electric field of 400 kilovolt. And it's because of the presence of this electric potential. Kilovolt voltage is actually a measurement of electric potential. It's a huge potential of a negative field of minus 400 kilovolt. Okay, minus from the perspective of the Earth, right? Because the Earth's surface is minus, right? So this negative electric potential enables life form. Humans, animals, plants, all forms of life exist because of this electric field. So now you understand why we are talking about negative electric potential. Why electric potential therapy? Because human beings require negative electric field to live or to survive. This gentleman here is Dr. Jerry Tennant. He wrote a number of books, okay, among which this is Healing is Voltage. Basically, the cover itself tells you that for us to heal, we need voltage. Just like we are able to stay on Earth because of the fact that the Earth is providing us the nourishment, the environment for us to live, which is the electric potential, the electric field. Okay? Now in Dr. Jerry Tennant's book, he actually mentioned about electron stealer and electron donor. All you need to know is that electron donor is negative sign, that means to say it's negative charge, or we call it electrons. If you know a little bit of physics, electrons are negatively charged. And it's very important for us. Our body requires electrons because they help us to do work, provide us with the energy. It is the pH 7.1 to 14, meaning to say that it's alkaline, okay? And is an antioxidant, which I think many of you have heard about the importance of antioxidant for our body, okay? So on the other side is electron stealer, is positive charged particles represented by a plus sign, okay? And this is something that we do not really like so much, okay, because it causes damage. It has an acidic pH, okay? And a lot of times we say that free radicals, damage our cells. So this is actually a free radical, okay? Now, in our life, we actually been exposed to positive charge and negative charge all the time. Believe it or not, okay? The moment you wake up in the morning, you can actually see that, everywhere. In fact, even while you're sleeping. So over here, you can see the aircon. Aircon is emitting positive charge. So when you are in an aircon environment for a long period of time, you tend to feel tired. Why? Because you are bombarded by positive charges. Okay, so you can see that there are a lot of positive charges like Wi-Fi, even though you cannot see Wi-Fi, but actually it is all over the place. In the flat, especially in Singapore, we are staying in multi-story, right? Every unit has their Wi-Fi. And you turn on your handphone, you can detect there's so many Wi-Fi signal. No wonder Singaporeans are so stressed. And of course, all the electrical devices, majority of them, including one that will always stay with you, which is the handphone, right? Nowadays, everyone carry handphone. So when you are carrying handphone, actually it steals your electrons because it's bombarding you with positive charges. Okay, so where on the other hand, electrons, or what you call the electron donors, okay, how do you get electron donor? Common ones are exercise, eating what you call raw food, which are not cooked, because when you cook, the electrons are being destroyed. So the Japanese, they like sushi, right? Raw fish and all this. That's why they actually understand. The Japanese is one culture that understand about electrons. In the whole country, they do a lot of electric potential therapy. They have a lot of electric potential therapy devices. Okay. In the past, our ancestors, they drink water from the well. They collect rainwater. Okay, whereby that time it's not polluted, right? So all these are giving us the electrons. That's why the older generation, the environment is actually full of electrons. Okay, with the trees and surrounding countryside, they're staying near mountains and all this. So they are very healthy. Whereas nowadays, we all say what? City dwellers, right? We all are what? City turtle, right? So the health is actually very much not as good as our previous generations. So that's mainly due to the environment, and also the nowadays people seldom exercise and lack of sleep, and all these are contributing to the fact that we have so many degenerative diseases that we are facing today. Okay. I have the privilege to attend a seminar in Tokyo after joining MLife, just my second year. So that time, the company actually arranged some specialists from Japan. And this professor, who is actually focusing on and specializing in electric potential for his entire life, entire career. So he has very good experience in electric potential therapy. So I attended his session that time. So this is actually one of the very rare occasions whereby we have a very close encounter and we learn a lot. Okay, during that time, for those, we have quite a number of people who attended. This is during one of our travel trip, a free incentive trip. So, and one of the things, this is one of the slides that he presented, and I feel that this is quite interesting. As you can see, our human body, on the surface of our body, on our skin, okay, there are a lot of electrons as well as positive charge, negative charges as well as positive charge. You can see that is represented, as I mentioned, negative and positive, and plus sign. Plus sign means positive, right? So we are actually surrounded, and when we are exposed to handphone, Wi-Fi and all this, there are more positive charges, and it actually makes you very tired. I remember when I used to travel, take a flight for example. During the flight, after you go to check into the hotel, when I actually take a shower, I find that my hair, wow, it's so dirty, really filled with dirt. It's black color, when I wash my hair. And that's during the flight, you're attracting all the positive charges. So you can imagine, with the positive charges, you will actually attract all the dust, all the particles, all the bacteria and all this. So it's actually very harmful to our body. So that's the reason why we actually use electric potential therapy, which supply us with the electrons or the negative charges to neutralize the positive charge. So this is something that is very much recognized and very much talked about, and the public in Japan, they actually knows quite a lot about this importance of electric potential therapy. In fact, just before I talk about the history, when I started in 2001, late 2015, 2016, I actually attended quite a lot of talks from other places. I just went, whoever talked about electric potential therapy, I will just go and attend and then try to learn as much as possible. So I realized that in Japan, from what I've learned from all these speakers, that many of them, when their parents age, okay, because in Japan it's like that, it's a big country, so a lot of people, they go to the city to work. So in the countryside, they send their aged parents to old age home and all those, all kinds of different homes and like our centers to take care of the old age. So they go in with black hair, go in with tongkat, our walking stick, right? And after 1-2 years, when they went back to visit their parents, they were actually very surprised to see that their parents' hair from white turns to black. And that is something that is very common for people who use electric potential therapy devices, which are very prevalent in all these old folks' home and all this. They actually use it for helping the people to age gracefully. Alright? And many of them do not need to use the walking stick anymore after using the electric potential therapy. So that is the kind of culture, the kind of society. That's why no wonder we always hear about Japan. They are very healthy, kind of like people live to a very ripe old age because of the fact that they're using this. So in fact, electric potential therapy device, as far as we understand, is that it started in 1928 in Japan. There's one professor, a doctor or professor, who actually noticed that the electric potential, the field, actually helps the plants to grow faster. So he developed a machine back in 1928, and the clinical trial in Fukuoka General Hospital. The first one is actually this person who actually developed this machine, because at that time, which is 90 over years back, right? When you talk about electric potential, meaning to say that you have to plug into the electricity, right? Are you scared? A lot of people are very scared, they say, wow, you asked me to use this machine and it's plugged into electricity, and that's about 100 years back. A lot of people are not willing to do it. So he has no choice, but he found a guinea pig. Who is the guinea pig? His mother, who was suffering from tuberculosis. So tuberculosis back then have no cure, right? Since no cure, so why not try? But after trying it, she actually got so much better, and kind of like, this is like a terminal illness, right? And she actually eventually got well, so much that a lot of the doctors and professors, they are very amazed, and therefore they send a lot of cancer patients, terminally ill patients, to go and try out this so-called electric potential device. So that's how this device get to become more and more famous, and a lot of doctors, they actually do research, clinical trials on it. And in 1959, Professor Shin Mizuguchi from the University of Tokyo, he actually learned, and through his clinical trial, he actually confirmed that when you use electric potential therapy, there's no side effect. And I think this is very important. When you are using electric potential therapy, something that you probably have not heard about before, one of the things that we want to know is that does it harm us, right? So it doesn't have any side effect, meaning to say it doesn't actually harm our body, okay? And at the same time, Dr. Maki Takada of Toho University, he actually proved that by using electric potential therapy, the human body, our blood, can be purified from acidic to mild alkaline. Okay, so that is the effect of this negative electric field, which is amazing, isn't it? Right? And in 1968, after 40 years of clinical trial, the Ministry of Health in Japan recognized electric potential therapy as a form of a medical device, a home-use medical device. So that's how we came into this electric potential therapy. Okay, and of course, many people will be wondering, how does it work? How come it's so amazing, right? What is the theory behind it? Now, many of the professors by that time, they have already established that human body has 60 trillion cells, all right, upward of 60 trillion cells. So our body is actually full of cells, and cells are like individual life forms, you know. They actually have a life of its own, as though they are a living unit, okay? And if you look at the cells, basically it comprises of a membrane, a cell membrane, and of course it's a nucleus, okay? Right? A lot of people think that the nucleus is the most important, but actually some of the researchers lately, they said that actually the cell membrane is actually the heart of the cell. Because the cell membrane basically is very important. Even you isolate it, you know, from an animal or whatever, it's still living, you know. As long as the environment is there, the cell, you still can breathe in, you still can eliminate toxin, you know. So it's very amazing. And the reason why is because the cell membrane has a negative electric potential, right? Inside, you can see all the minus sign, that is actually the negative charge. The outside is actually, if inside is negative, outside is positive lah. Actually, this is physics, right? Even though it is not really drawn there. Now, children, you know, children are usually healthy, right? If a children is born healthy, they'll be very energetic, okay, and they are usually very healthy, right? And children, their cells are healthy cells, and that's the reason why they are so energetic, because the fact that they have a high electric potential of minus 90 millivolts, as you can see there, right? Minus 90 millivolts. What it means is that when you have a high electric potential, minus 90 millivolts, there's an ability for the voltage, when the voltage is high, you are able to assimilate nutrients, make new cells, right? Make new cells by assimilating nutrients, have enough of the electric potential. Dr. Jerry Tennant actually in his book talked a lot about the importance of maintaining the voltage, okay? Because if you want to make new cells, your voltage has to be enough, okay? Minus 50 millivolts, for example, okay? That's what he said, okay? By measuring the voltage of the cell, okay? So, and also eliminate toxins, so in and out. Another important thing is the oxygen level is high. Okay, so when you have high electric potential, your oxygen level also high. Okay, because of that, you are able to make more energy from the process of metabolism, right? Our body has this ability to actually generate energy. Now, as we get older, what happened to our electric potential? It actually drops to minus 70 millivolts. When we get old, minus 50 millivolts. When we are sick, what happened? It drops further to minus 30 millivolts, and cancer patient has the lower, even lower, all right, minus 15 millivolts. And when the person is dead, what happened?
Zero.
Becomes zero. Okay. So as you can see, as our voltage drops, what happened? As our voltage drops, you can see that the cell membrane is no longer all negative charge, right? There are also a mixture of positive charge. So that's the reason why the negative potential has dropped. So as it drops, the ability to assimilate nutrients is being compromised. In other words, you are not able to absorb the nutrients that you might need for your body to work, okay, and to eliminate toxin. Eliminating of toxin is actually very critical for our cells to make new cells, for example. Okay, so cancer cells means to say that the voltage has dropped to such a level that you are not able to make new cells, and therefore your cells are keep on going down, become from semi-healthy cell to become cancer cells. So what happened that if you apply an electric field, a negative electric field to it using an electric potential therapy, it is like reversing. You can see the arrow there, right? Let me see this. You see the arrow here? Meaning to say, if you can reverse the voltage, what happened? Is it possible to reverse the voltage? In other words, if you apply a voltage, a negative voltage on the cells, will the cells reverse from negative minus 15 to minus 30 to minus 50 to minus 70 to eventually minus 90? Is it possible? Alright? So in the research, they actually found that it's possible. And that's the reason why electric potential therapy is being born. Because it's a therapy that is able to reverse the cell potential, right? Our cell membrane potential, which has dropped to such a level that it's not able to work. Just like a handphone, no more battery, right? You need to charge. So it's like, wow, our cells can be charged, and that's amazing. Okay, how to charge? Use a battery and charge cannot, right? You get electrocuted. So that's why electric potential therapy becomes very relevant to us. Okay, so just now I mentioned about our human body, right? How we live, we need energy, right? Everything requires energy. If you don't have energy, it's just like the older folks, right? No energy because the electric potential has dropped to minus 50 millivolts or minus 30 millivolts. So when the voltage goes down, what happens? When the voltage goes down, the cells are not able to generate as much energy. So over here, this is an experiment, right? Or rather you can see in a lot of the biochemistry book or whatever, they talk about this process of how the body, Krebs cycle, okay, 1 unit of glucose, okay, 1 unit of glucose here, combined with sufficient oxygen. Sufficient oxygen means to say that in order to have sufficient oxygen, your voltage has to be high. For example, minus 90 millivolts is considered as high voltage for a cell, right? So when the voltage is high, you have enough oxygen, and therefore the process, what we call the ATP process, it can produce 38 units of energy, ATP, for every unit of glucose, okay? And this is like a battery fully charged. And that's the reason why when you're able to fully charge your battery, you're able to operate at a high energy level. And that's very important for cell repair, for your body daily whatever activities that you do, so you won't get tired so easily. So on the other hand, when your voltage drops, just like an elderly person, when the voltage drops, meaning to say oxygen level also drop. Because oxygen level, it actually corresponds with the voltage. When the voltage is high, the oxygen level high. When the voltage is low, oxygen level low. Right? These are done in the laboratory. They actually have experimented it. Right? It can be confirmed lah. Okay. So when the energy level, when the oxygen is low, okay, when the voltage is low, that means oxygen low, right? So over here in the so-called anaerobic, 2 units of ATP is being produced when the oxygen level is low for every 1 unit of glucose. So it's like the battery is only charged only a little bit only. So you a little bit while only you get tired already. Okay, so that's how we can actually look at this is how important is the electric potential therapy. Okay, so people who lack oxygen also look tired. In fact, I've been doing health supplements for quite a number of years, and I also noticed that some people they take almost the same type of supplement, right? Some people respond very well, whereas some people don't respond very well. And when I came into M Life, I sort of like have a aha moment and say, oh, now I understand. It's because if you've been doing a lot of things, right, to nourish your body, doing whatever it is, and you're still not getting well, what is something that is missing? That means to say you're not assimilating. You know what I mean? And when I actually look at the testimonies and the people in using the electric potential therapy device, then I can relate, when I actually understand all this, I can relate to the fact that, when we use the M-Life electric potential device, you are charging up your cells. And by charging up your cells, now you are able to assimilate, you are able to have the building blocks, the building materials, okay? And you have the oxygen, right, the building materials. And of course, there's one more very important element, which is removing toxin. That is something else that I also want to mention, which even our M-Life sleep device can help you to eliminate toxin. We'll talk about it later on. Okay, so this is something that is very amazing to know, right? So just now we talked about the cell voltage. So this is taken from Dr. Jerry Tennant's book. He said that when you have minus 50 millivolt, then you can make new cells. Right? So actually, for every voltage, it corresponds to a cell pH. I actually did not know about this until I came into M-Life. Okay, because I thought that because last time I used to do a lot of pH testing. I didn't realize that pH testing is directly related to the voltage. So this when you test something as a liquid, right? Any liquid, when you test the pH, okay, it will read. You actually use a voltmeter to test for pH. And that's something very interesting. I don't know any one of you realize that, right? Do you all know or not? Right? How do you test for the pH of a liquid? You use a voltmeter. A voltmeter that can cover a wider range, you see. So when the voltmeter reads, for example, minus 50 millivolt, it reads off as a pH of 7.88, okay, which is alkaline. Okay, so it's very interesting. So now I understand the relationship, okay, and this is actually called the oxidation reduction potential, ORP. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the reading, right? So 400 plus 400 actually refers to 14 pH. pH scale is actually from normally we understand is from 7 is neutral, right? Which is normally we talk about this. For example, here I would say that this neutral is 0 here, and then plus is actually what you call the plus is we say that plus is what you call not so good, right? So it's actually acidic lah, and then negative is actually alkaline. So like orange and all this, vitamin C, all this is green fruits, vegetables, all this is alkaline food, right? So this is actually the scale that we're actually using all the time. Okay, so very interesting. Okay, and just in case for people who were wondering, how come our M-Life material we talk about minus 19 millivolt, whereas Dr. Jerry Tennant book talk about minus 50 millivolt. Actually, it's a different way of measuring. One is measuring direct from the what you call from in a petri dish. You measure by putting an electrode inside and outside the cell. Then you measure minus 90 millivolt, and this is what we actually use. But Dr. Jerry Tennant used a different method of measuring, which is directly. He has an instrument that measures directly, so that's why it measures off differently. But we have to understand this, then we can understand. Oh, okay. This has actually been the research has been done, and what actually our material said is actually that's how we interpret it. So it's actually correct. Okay, just a note only. Now, once you understand the relationship between the voltage and the pH, then you understand why we always talk about the blood pH. Why blood pH is very important. Blood pH can, if you go for a test, right? You go to a hospital, go for a test, they'll ask you to go for a blood test, correct? Straight away from the blood, you can actually tell a lot of your conditions, what kind of disease you have and things like that. So in other words, the blood contains information that can tell you whether you are healthy or not or unhealthy. Okay. Generally speaking, if you look at this on the left, this is what we call mild alkaline blood. All right. This we call it acidic. Acidic, not so much of really acidic lah. Actually, it's actually more on the acidic side lah. Still, blood actually is still alkaline. It's just that are you more alkaline or slightly alkaline. So generally speaking, in layman's term, for ease of understanding, we say that acidic blood or alkaline blood. Okay? Chinese we say 酸性 酸性 means acidic, or 碱性. So children, their blood is more on the mild alkaline side. Okay, which means to say that the voltage is high, the oxygen level is high. So when oxygen level is high, the blood is what? Very reddish. When you get a cut, you find that the blood comes up very easily. Alright, it's red color. It flows very easily. Whereas an older person, an elderly person, have you heard about some elderly person when they go for draw blood, right, for blood test? Well, I got problem getting the blood, because somehow it got stuck. Why? Because it's too thick. Too thick, they say, blood cannot come out. So got problem, right? Because why? Because it's too acidic, and the color is very brackish, very black color, very dark color, lack of oxygen. So that's why if you understand this, you understand why normally we talk about purified blood. Purified blood means to say that through the process of electric potential therapy, your blood from acidic becomes mild alkaline. So this is the process that we are talking about. Generally speaking, when people ask you, so what do your M-Life electric potential therapy, your M-Life mattress do? What does it do? So very simple. There are two main things. One is purify blood. But purified blood doesn't mean that you take out the blood, you go through a dialysis machine and you put back. No, it means to say you go through this process of electric potential therapy, and through the intervention of the electric field, right, that's surrounding you when you're using the M-Life mattress, your body, your cells, from negative, from what you call low potential, from minus 30, minus 50, whatever, it starts to actually charge up and actually becomes minus 50, minus 70, minus 90 millivolts. So that is exactly what we are talking about when we say about we purify blood. Okay? So is that important? It's very amazing, right? You just sleep on our mattress and you can purify blood, Can you imagine that? You know how difficult it is to purify blood for a kidney dialysis patient? It's very tough, if you know of any of the people who actually have this, kidney issue, right? It's very suffering, a lot of suffering, okay? So now why is it that in the first place our blood becomes acidic? Mainly through lifestyle. In fact, a lot of the issue that we have is due to our lifestyle, the food that we put into our mouth. Okay? What you eat is very important. So I think it's very important we have to understand that in order for us to be healthy, it's not just to use the M-Life mattress, we also have to change our lifestyle. Okay? This is something that I really like to talk about it more later on. Okay? And now besides eating, what we put inside our mouth, okay, that we have the gut, lack of exercise. Is exercise important?
Yes.
It's important, right? So how many of you do exercise every day? Only one person, hands up. Then what happened to the rest? You all say exercise important, right? How come not doing exercise?
Exercise the mouth.
Exercise mouth lah, okay. Then eat more. Eat more, right? So you see that's the issue, right? A lot of people, they say that, well, M-Life mattress used already, then I don't have to worry about what I eat. I don't have to exercise. Is it correct?
No.
Yeah. So I mean, we face a lot of so-called, meet a lot of people like that, and then they say that your mattress, don't work, But actually, it's not. You have to understand how the mattress works. That's why it's very important to understand, to have the education when you use the M-Life sleep device. Because without the education, you see the testimony, wow, fantastic, people use already, 3 high, whatever, just 2-3 months, no need to take medication, no need to take this and that. They say, wow, this one is magic. I have one customer, one member, last time who used to drive Grab, right? And people who drive Grab, sometimes they want to pia, to earn the points or whatever it is. They actually sleep only a few hours,